Let's begin with waterfall. So grab your block. I shall get yours, Laura. You're going to lift your butt and bring the block under your tailbone so that you can bring both legs up to the ceiling. You're going to have to find a balance point yourself. You're going to have to find the balance point yourself. You don't want to have to do any work at all. Once you find the balance point under the tailbone, you should easily be able to have no energy holding the legs there. This is legs up the wall, legs up the chair. This is only 2 minutes. Interlace your fingers completely. Flip the palms away from you. So as you energize the finger joints, flip the palms away from you. Running through the finger joints, the fingertips, wrist joints, elbows, and shoulder joints, your upper meridians, which we work in yin and energize and open. Heart, lungs, small, large intestines. Pericardium, which is a heart meridian, and the Sanjial meridian, the most important meridian in the body. Running through your finger joints and wrist joints. We're going to stress all the joints in your body, the ones we have planned today. You could move the arms a little overhead, energizing the shoulder joints, which we're going to stress as well. And rotate, if you haven't already, the ankles in both directions. Spread the toes, point the toes, crimp the toes. Make sure you're breathing at least twice as deep as you normally do, in and out through the nose. So a nice reading today, I think, very powerful. We're going to read a little bit from Annie Besant, a little bit about how the universe has been designed just for the self, for the spiritual realm. Let's move, though, to grab opposite elbows and let the arms drape all the way over the top or crown of your head. So now you're stretching the shoulders in a different angle. You're still breathing deep. Snuggle the upper arms in closer to the ears. Continue breathing. And you only have about 45 seconds left, so go ahead and reintroduce yourself to the ankles as you rotate. Spread the toes, point the toes, crimp the toes. So 87% of yoga deals with the supreme goal in all of life, the reality of who you really are, not the titles that you have. I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a yoga instructor, retired teacher. All those titles are going to end as soon as your heart stops beating. So there's not much meaning to them according to yoga, as Annie Besant is going to share with us today. Let's come off the block completely. And I'm going to demonstrate cat pulling its tail. So as you come off, you're going to come up with enthusiasm up to your forearms, just like you see me. Now, if you can't see me, look to your neighbor. You're going to shift to your left hip and draw the right leg out front and try to keep it bent and anchor it. And then shift your hip so you're comfortable. Your right hand is free to grab the tail or the left foot. And then once you grab the left foot with the right hand, pull the left foot away, and then you have to kind of squirm and breathe your shoulders down. Turn your head to the right and bring in the breath. So this is a back-bending twist called cat pulling its tail. I'm going to set the timer for about 2.5 minutes. Annie Besant, the author who died in early 1900. If you can grab that right. Okay. 1900s. She is a theosophical writer. Theosophical meaning divine wisdom. And I'm guessing she's written 20 some odd books. Okay, we're going to try this, Sigrid. You're going to try grabbing the strap, and then you're going to breathe your shoulder down and look toward Laura. So we always do a little reading. I've been doing this going on 8 years come June. 87% of yoga deals with the mind. The true self is not the mind. The mind can get in the way of finding your true self. So it says here, Lecture 1, The Nature of Yoga. In this first discourse, we shall concern ourselves with the gaining of a general idea of the subject of yoga, seeking its place in nature, its own character, its object in human evolution. So as we go through the reading today, you might glean that she's trying to share with us the whole universe has been evolving, from what I understand, 13.5 billion years. And humans have only been here for about 3.5 million, I'm guessing, possibly longer. So the question is, are we done evolving? Is there going to be any more evolution? And she's going to tell us what could happen if you so choose. So this next section, she's entitling it, The Meaning of the Universe. But before we read on, let's come out of cat pulling its tail. Roll back over on your back and counterpose Honey Lee with Happy Baby. Bend the knees, try to get the bottoms of your feet facing the ceiling. Grab the outside of the feet or the ankles or calves as you breathe. Pull the feet away from each other. You can tick-tock the feet front to back as well. So half your body, yin tissue. The subtler half, the affectionate half, the ligaments, the joints, the bones, the fascia networks. The yang tissue, the other half of your body, is the aggressive half, the strength half, the muscles. This culture has taught us, no pain, no gain. Work the outside of the body. But it should have taught us to work the other half of the body, the subtler half. So we're going to stress the joints today, opening up the connective tissue. How do you stress the joints? You hold a twist for 3 minutes, like we just did. And the joints are twisting for 3 minutes. The connective tissue breaks, and hydration and energy can come back in. Okay, let's see if you can find cat pulling its tail, turning to your right hip. Now once you get over to the right hip, your left leg draws out front and anchors, that's it. And Barbara, you got the wrong tail, and your left hand grabs the right foot, that's it, Sigrid. As you squirm your shoulders down, breathing, try to drop that left shoulder down, try to turn your head to the left, and of course the breath is deep. Some people may never get either one. But if I had to tell you, the knee. But I can't get the knee and the shoulder down both together. So you choose. Each pose is different for each person. I want the legs comfortable though. I want the legs anchored so that you can exhale that shoulder down. And Marie, you're going to turn your eyes toward me, right? So let's move on with our reading today. The meaning of the universe. Let us first of all ask ourselves, looking at the world around us, what it is that the history of the world signifies. When we read history, what does the history tell us? It seems to be moving in a panorama of people and events, but it is really only a dance of shadows. Why does she say that? Because we're all going to die. Nobody's going to remember your name. The people, you just have to listen. The people are shadows, not realities. The kings and statesmen, the ministers and armies, and the events, the battles and revolutions, the rises and falls of states are the most shadow-like dance of all. Even if the historian tries to go deeper, if he deals with economic conditions, with social organizations, with the study of the tendencies of the currents of thought, even then he's in the midst of shadows, the illusory shadows cast by unseen realities. And what is the unseen reality? The spirit that you can't see, but it is the reality because it's eternal. The body is temporary. It's an illusion. You're in a dream. Just like when you wake up in the morning, the dream's over. When you die, the dream will be over and you'll be in the reality of spirit. This world is full of forms that are illusory and the values are all wrong. The proportions are out of focus. The things which a man of the world thinks valuable, a spiritual man must cast aside as worthless. Let's find happy baby one more time. So again, happy baby, knees are bent, bottom of the feet facing the ceiling. If you can, grab the outside of the feet. If not, simply grab up near the calves or ankles. For 1 minute, right? This is a counter pose. In Yin Yoga, we give you a minute to release the tension, to reset the spine so that we can then move to other areas of the body. Now remember, I mentioned your upper meridians running through the fingertips, finger joints, wrist joints, elbows and shoulders, heart, lungs, small, large intestines, pericardium, and Sanjiao meridian. Well, right now you're opening the hip joints a little. We're going to open them a little more in a moment. The meridians that are the lower meridians run through the hips all the way down to the tips of the toes, through the knee joints, ankles, toe joints. Stomach, spleen, gallbladder, urinary bladder, kidney, and liver meridians. Oh, I listen to that breathing back there, Dennis. I love it. Love it. All right, let's release from happy baby. Now you'll come up to your forearms again. This time I'm going to face in this direction. So now let's find a seated modified pigeon. But let's go right first. Your right ankle above the left knee. Make sure it's your right ankle. Makes it easier for me. And then the left leg bends just a little. But where you're going to get the hip stressed, you'll come up straightening your arms. Now you're going to have to move your butt, your foot, or your hands in such a way until you feel some energy in your hip. And then for 1.5 minutes, lay the head back. As you inhale, lift the heart and arch the back. You might notice right away that each time you inhale, you're pushing, that diaphragm is expanding, and you're getting a little more energy into that hip. So as I mentioned, the things which a man of the world thinks are valuable, a spiritual man may cast aside as worthless. The diamonds of the world, Annie Besset writes, and of course we have a gem show here in Tucson every year. The diamonds of the world, with their glare and glitter in the rays of the outside sun, are mere fragments of broken glass to the man of knowledge. The crown of the kings, the scepter of the emperor, the triumph of earthly power are less than nothing to the man who has had one glimpse of the majesty of the self. And remember, we're reading about the self. It pervades the entire universe, and you are a spark of that divinity. All the masters, avatars, rishis, saints, and seers have told us this throughout human history. So the majesty of the self is incomparable to anything else that you can experience. What is then real? What is truly valuable? Our answer will be very different from the answer given by the man of the world. Now, you can release that same right leg as you come up to seat it, draws in front, just like this. Now remember, if you can't see me, look to your neighbor. This is half butterfly. It's an angled forward fold. The left leg draws out for you the best way so that when you locate your midline of the body is the belly button. When you locate the midline as you tip forward, now I like to grab near the left ankle, the right hand here. That way when I descend, I can find the midline comfortably. Some of you may be able to do the arms here. It just depends on your physicality. But drop it down, be patient, make sure you're breathing, and make sure you're right down on the midline. Now yoga masters will argue that when Christ was talking in the parable of the pearl of great price, Many pulpits of America don't understand the parable of the pearl of great price, but he said, the kingdom of heaven is like a pearl of great price. Once you find the pearl, sell everything you own and buy the pearl. So Jenny, you're going down your left leg. I need you to go more to the center. Right? The center, good. The pearl is a representation of your third eye, your pineal gland, according to the yoga masters. And once you have, as Annie Besant imagined, a glimpse of the majesty of the self, once you've been meditating and you've set your mind aside and you realize who you really are, you sell everything you own because you no longer want the diamonds. You no longer need the earthly power, the king's scepter, and the emperor things of this world. But you have to choose. The thing about yoga, it's your journey. Only you can make it. No one else can help you evolve. The question is, do you want to evolve? Annie is arguing today that the universe is evolving whether you like it or not. And you're going to be going down the stream of evolution. Some of them are going faster than others. It's fine. It just may take you a little longer. Let's read on. The universe exists for the sake of the self. Wow. Not for what the outer world can give. Not for control over objects of desire. Not for the sake even of beauty or pleasure does the great architect plan and build his worlds. He's filled them in objects of beauty and pleasure-giving. The great arch of the sky above, the mountains with snow-clad peaks, the valleys soft with verdure and fragrant with blossoms, the oceans with their vast depths, their surface now calm as a lake, now tossing in fury. They all exist not for the objects themselves, but for their value to the self. Not for themselves because they are anything in themselves, but that the purpose of the self may be served and his manifestations made possible. So are you going to manifest the self in this lifetime? It's possible. It's trapped inside your body. It's a choice is yours. The world with all its beauty, its happiness and suffering, its joys and pains, is planned with the utmost ingenuity in order that the powers of the self may be shown forth in manifestation. So we'll finish our reading in just a few moments. For now, you can release. Now you have 1 minute, Sigrid. You can release any tension you have many ways. You can stay seated. You could choose to do some windshield wipers to release tension. Some practitioners will go down to their back. You can hug the knees. Arch pose is a good counter. I've seen reverse table. I've seen shoulder stand, plow pose. I've also seen nothing. You can do nothing, and that will release tension. But you only get 1 minute, Marie, and no falling asleep today after your 2 a.m. arrival from your partying in Phoenix. So we do have a bonus question coming up in 30 seconds. That's about how long you have. Somebody, please, you can think about it, demonstrate for the class what is going to be next. Don't just say the other side. You'll have to actually demonstrate it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to use descriptive words. It looks like Joyce's brain is working. She's moving in that direction. Time's up. What's next? Who's going to show me? Smiling Susie has it first. Joyce, we're going to come to the hip first. But you have to straighten your arms. So bring your left ankle to the right knee and straighten your arms. Bend the right knee. And for 1 minute, 30 seconds, lay the head back and bring some energy, not only what you feel, but keep your mind involved in opening up a little bit of that hip joint. The world with all its beauty, its happiness and suffering, its joys and pains is planned with the utmost ingenuity in order that the powers of the self may be shown forth in manifestation. The lowest grain of dust, the mightiest diva in his heavenly reign, the plant that grows out of the side of in a nook of a mountain, the star that shines aloof over us all, these exist in order that the fragments of the one self embodied in countless forms. So of course she's saying what yoga says, divinity is everywhere, may realize their own identity. Have you realized your own identity? Do you actually think you're a human being? And manifest the powers of the self through the matter that envelops them. So you're enveloped in matter. Are you just going to let the self sit there in this lifetime? But yoga says, no, 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 no. Yoga says you can manifest the self through meditation. And as we read, there will be nothing like it ever in your experience. As you come out of seated, modified pigeon, yes, Joyce, the left foot bends in front, half butterfly this is called, and that's because these are butterfly legs, but this is half butterfly. Remember, you're going to tip your sit bones and find the center line of the body, and your trunk, Jenny, dropping right down the center for 3 minutes. Breath is deep. So our reading is complete. If I had to paraphrase, it would be that the universe has evolved and it's going to continue to evolve. Your spiritual experience you're having is going to manifest eventually. Evolution does not stop with humanity. It's going to move towards spirit, whether you like it or not. Do you understand that, Nanette Palmer? It doesn't stop with human beings. It's continuing. The whole universe is moving toward a spiritual manifestation. People are beginning to be more friendly, more loving, the fruits of the spirit, more meditators, more yoga experiences. But evolution can't stop because it hasn't stopped. It's always continuing forward. So it's only a matter of time before that reality bears on the universe. I hope you're breathing deeply. You can release. Now you have 3 minutes. Check that, my mistake. You have 1 minute. You were just involved for 3. It's a counter pose. Move any way you want. But you only have 1 minute, Laura, and I mean it.
Is that a threat?
We can joke around a little bit. So we're going to move on. We've been doing some forward bending for 6 minutes. We're going to counter now with some gentle passive back bending. Remember, you're putting gravity to work on the joints. And what that does, it stresses them. Good for the bones. Good for the bones, Barbara. When you stress bone. And we also are offering 10% off your next class if you are able to get through the bonus round coming up. Let's make your way to table pose. Table pose, you're on your hands and knees, hands under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Walk your table toward the back edge of your mat so your feet are near the back edge. This is melting heart. Bring your hands with you so they start out right under your shoulders. Move your hands right under your shoulders. And then look down at your hands, walk them 2 hand lengths forward. And leave your hands 2 hand lengths forward. Sit your butt back towards your heels. Draw your head to the mat or the block. Don't let your butt rest on your heels. Don't let your elbows touch the mat if you can help it. Spread your fingers wide because you're energizing through the finger joints, wrists, stressing the shoulder joints now where the heart, lung, and intestines run through. Your breath is deep. This is 2.5 minutes. Each time you exhale, the heart can melt toward the mat. So we're stressing the most complex joint in the body. Lift your head up. The shoulder joint, it has to rotate 6 directions. No other joint is asked to do that. Plus the upper back is being stretched and opened up depending on how far in front your hands are. If your hands are far out in front, your back, upper back is being opened. If your hands are not far out in front, then mostly just the shoulders. But we're trying to stay out of the category of dowager's hump, where you're leaning forward. If you get dowager's hump, you can put yourself in the cardiovascular category. We don't want to do that. There's not much respiration, circulation going to the heart, and it could compromise your health. I hope you're breathing deeply. Okay, Laura, that's fine. Now you're going to gracefully move forward, Joyce, to Sphinx. So you're going to come all the way down to your stomach. You can move the block. And your forearms. Be careful here with that shoulder. Make sure your elbows are right under the shoulders. Your forearms are parallel with each other. Proud up your heart, don't slouch. And level your chin with the floor. For the first minute, you're in Sphinx. Before I deepen the pose, your breath is deep. Each time you exhale, the groin drops down to the mat, the heart prouds up and moves back. This is recommended 20 minutes. We're going to be involved for about 5. We're going to run through this in 2 rounds, but we'll take a short break in between. If you can, you're looking straight ahead. your chin level with the floor. So now we're stressing all 23 joints of the spine, but we're going to go deeper than this when we hit that first minute. Remember, it's your spine, it's not mine. If you find the breath, when the exhale hits, you can lift the heart up a little bit and back. With breath comes movement, with movement comes feeling. With feeling, it keeps your attention. When your attention is occupied, your mind begins to calm. Open your eyes, look up for 1 minute. Open the eyes so we can strengthen the optical nerves. I'm timing this, and you're hopefully going to look up for a full minute. Make sure you're still breathing deeply. "35 seconds, hang in there." Now, if at any time you're in any pain or discomfort, yes, come out. Because when you're in pain or discomfort, the mind distracts and we're not achieving that quietude of mind. We also have modifications for you. That's a good one. If you want, you can put the block under the elbows. That's fine, Susie. Now, let's droop your head so you can rest the neck muscles for about 40 seconds. So just take a moment to let the neck rest. If you have to, based on your physicality, you may have to drop down further. We're going to try and come back up in a moment and finish the last 2 minutes. The very last minute of this sequence, we're going to go even deeper to a back bend if it works for your physicality. All right, let's bring your chin back up. You're looking straight ahead again, your breath back in. You get 1 minute to kind of reestablish the breathing, the awareness, the movement up and back. When we get to that last minute, Rose, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to cue you to push the cobra. That's why I want your forearms parallel with each other and as wide as the shoulders so you can distribute the weight evenly. When I cue you in a few moments, you'll push through the hands to straight arms to cobra, and you'll hopefully lay the head back with the eyes open for a full minute. If you're not able to push your arms to straight where your hands currently reside, then simply move your fingertips forward a couple of inches and try it again. If you're in too much pain or discomfort, then you won't push up. Are you ready, Marie? Marie's ready for cobra. Let's join her. Straighten your arms and look up to the ceiling. Make sure you're breathing. I'm timing this last minute. Make sure you're breathing deeply. The last 30 seconds, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win 10% off your next class. That's a 60-cent value. That's going to be Swan. Try to keep your arms locked out in Nanette Palmer and bend your legs. Try to draw your heels to the back of your head. Anybody touch the heels to the back of your head, you get 10% off your next class. Look up. Come on, you still got 15 seconds. Pull those heels in. 5, 4, 3. You can droop your head, gently drop to your elbows again, and when you're ready, you can come all the way down, Catherine the Great. You can split your elbows and bring your hands under your chin cheek or forehead. So oftentimes when we do a grand opening, I let you guys know how the business is doing. We could not expand yoga without your help. But I have to say, on 3 occasions, I have had to give away 10%, 60 cents, to little girls under the age of 10. They have managed to touch their heels to the backs of their heads. And I've been a little bit irresponsible with your money as I'm trying to use it to help expand yoga. Let's push up and back into child's pose. Child's pose. Now you can sit your butt all the way back to your heels if your knees will allow. Drop your head down to the mat. No more deep breathing, and for the next minute, just try to relax. We can get some blood flow to the most sophisticated piece of equipment you have been given, free and clear, the pineal gland, the pearl of great price. Getting a little blood flow, getting a little massage as you're upside down. The meditative gland that the Bhagavad Gita says you've been dragging around with you for an eternity. The question you need to ask yourself, when are you going to use it? All right, let's gracefully and comfortably make your way to a seated position. Your legs are straight out in front. Now once you get your legs out in front, look down at your feet. Make sure your feet are hip width so you have a nice foundation. And sit up as tall as you can. So Elizabeth's not here, but maybe we can catch up with what she likes to do. Spread all 10 toes as wide as you can. Interlace the fingers, pointer fingers, and try to lift out as you look straight ahead. Each time you inhale, just get the spine straight again so we can move it sideways for the first time in this Yin class. Give me one more inhale. Keep your toes spread wide. Let's go left. Drop your left hand down to the mat near your hip and lean sideways, lateral to the left. Try to keep your ear dropping to the shoulder. This is only 1.5 minutes. Each time you exhale, gracefully move down, down. So one of the benefits of Yin Yoga that you wouldn't get typically in an exercise program or another type of yoga is acupressure. In about 3 minutes, we're going to do a forward fold. You can imagine a forward fold. When you do certain poses and you hold them, you cut off blood flow and energetic flow. And that pressurizes other areas of the body. Acupressure. Acupressure in a Yin class helps clean out toxicities as you have to pressurize other areas of the body. But many Americans carry around emotional toxicities in their body, and for decades, depending on their lifestyles, life experiences, and thought processes, you could stress the body out and find some disease or illness. So Yin Yoga helps clean out emotional toxins. Let's go right. Float to the right. You're floating because you're mostly water. Let's get juicy again. Don't forget the ear. Don't forget the ear dropping to the shoulder. Make sure you're breathing deeply. Hang in there, you got about 20 seconds. All right, you can release. So how are we going to stretch now? Let's go to a caterpillar, Yin calls it. You're going to keep the feet about hip width, but tip the sit bones. In order to get a decent stretch of that spine release, at least grab far enough down so your arms are nearly straight. And then let the chin drop to the chest and let the breath come in. This is 4 minutes. So you don't have to crank. It's going to happen nicely on its own. This is called passive stress. And the word stress is a good stress. So if you remember last week, we talked a little bit about why yoga is not quite as popular here in the West as it is more prevalent in the East. And we used a new word that I came across a couple weeks ago. It's an adjective. It describes a certain personality trait, one that I'm glad I don't have anymore, perhaps. The word is insular, I-N-S-U-L-A-R. It means ignorant of or uninterested in cultures, ideas, or peoples outside one's own experience. So many Americans are content with where they're at. They don't want to learn anything else. They're in their comfort zone. They don't want to step outside their circle of comfort. And that's too bad. You could say that they're insular. But unfortunately, they're missing out on what Annie Besant said. Perhaps they won't get a glimpse of the majesty of the self, and they'll be regulated to the flesh and the sorrows of life. But yoga promises an end of all sorrows simply by meditation. And what's wrong with that? It's the supreme goal in all of life. You can release. Kathy Joe Miller, you get 1 minute to counter pose. So move any way you want. If you want, you can even stand up and do a little dance. Now, if you guys are interested, on February 16th, you can go to Harrison Hills where I'm hosting the karaoke. You can come at 6:30, Friday the 16th at Harrison Hills. I'll sing Frank Sinatra, my first song, and then I'll let it go to the group to sing any song they choose. It's karaoke night at Harrison Hills. Bring your BYOB. Bring whatever you want. Come out and have a good time. We might invite all the yoga, 1,600 people, to karaoke night. That's correct. You might have to have a few glasses of wine. All right. So Honey Lee Barrett is going to go. She hasn't heard me sing Sinatra before. 6:30, the 16th, Harrison Hills. 6:30 to 8:30. Okay, I'm only going to sing the one song. It's not about me, it's about everybody else there. Let's come back up with enthusiasm to Melting Heart. We're about 7 minutes away from winding down. You have to keep your focus. You're on your hands and knees, table pose. After 7 minutes more of back bends, you're going to start winding down, so keep your focus. Remember, you're going to walk your hands a couple hand lengths forward. Try to keep your hands there, but don't hurt your shoulders, Sigrid. And drop your butt back towards your heels. Head can draw to the mat or the block. This time around, it's only 2 minutes. But spread your fingers. Put some energy in the finger joints. We don't spread the fingers often. And you might notice when the fingers spread, not only are you energizing those areas involved, but the wrist. There's energy goes through the wrist, and it then transfers up those arms, and we're trying to get the shoulders involved, the shoulder joints, right? So some other benefits of yin yoga you wouldn't normally get in a regular yoga practice or exercise routine. Fibroblasts. I'm getting there, Ms. Palmer. But yes, Nanette Palmer has been listening. Fibroblasts, when you hold a pose, let's take this one as an example. There are degenerative areas in everyone's body. No matter what age you are, the energetic flow may not quite be there, depending on what's going on with your body. As these degenerative areas open up, the cells, fibroblasts are the cells responsible for creating more collagen and elastin in the body. They get released, they migrate out and can do the job they're supposed to, perhaps thickening and strengthening your ligaments. That would be the elastin. Let me make sure I'm correct on that. Collagen and elastin, correct. The collagen, thank you, Nanette, is for the ligaments. The elastin is the skin property, bringing hydration to the skin. Gently, gracefully, smiling Susie. Draw to Sphinx for one last time, all the way to your stomach. The last 5 minutes. Remember, after this, we're going to wind down, Barbara. As I start the timer, I'm hoping your elbows are directly under the shoulders. Your breath coming in, Dennis. Your chin level with the floor. So we're not going to push up till the last minute, but I am going to deepen this after 1 minute by asking you, if it does work for you, of course, when we get to a minute, you're going to try to stimulate the thyroid gland as you lay the head back and look up with the eyes open. Many practitioners have gone off thyroid medication because of a yoga practice. Shoulder stand is a great way to massage that thyroid gland, and laying the head back is another one. breathe. Your minute has passed. If it works for you, Jenny, open the eyes and look up. Keep the elbows down. We're going to do that at the end. And just slowly work for you. Whatever works for you best. I'm timing this. It's for 1 minute. Eyes are open. Strengthening those optical nerves. Breathe. All right, for 40 seconds or so, drop your head, droop your neck, droop your head and rest your neck. Remember, if you're in any time in any pain or discomfort, you can find a modification. But there's still plenty of yoga, right? But you don't want to have the mind distracted with pain or discomfort because we're trying to calm the mind. Now in a moment I'm going to draw you back up for the last 2 minutes. Try to stay involved and then we'll begin our winding down. Kathy McDaniel, you ready? Looks like she's ready. Let's bring your chin back up. But don't do anything, Barbara, just yet. Just reestablish Sphinx. The breath again coming in, the chin leveling, your awareness. And I'll cue you when we get to the last minute. Remember, this is recommended 20 minutes. We've only done 10 today. When I do cue you, I hope if it works for you, once again go to Cobra where your elbows will push off the mat. If you can't do that, move your hands forward a couple inches. And then, of course, the last 30 seconds, Jenny, you have an opportunity to win 10% off your next class. With Swan, try to touch the heels to the back of your head. And I'll cue you, Susie, when that time comes. Are you breathing deeply? All right, let's go that last minute. Straighten the arms. Look up, eyes open. Now you're in Cobra. Breathe. Breathe. You could try the good shoulder. You could try. Set that block underneath just the elbow. As we get to know you, we can work with things like that. Bend the knees, 30 seconds. Don't hurt yourself. But that block's an option. You don't have to push up. You can just leave that elbow on the block, which is a little more elevation than what it was before, but not if you're in any pain. Try to get those toes to the back of the head for 60 cents off your next class. What's the deal? 5 seconds. Gently draw your elbows to the mat, straighten your legs. You could, when you're ready, drop your chin all the way down on top of your hands. Take a moment. So each Yin class is different. Each class I take the time to figure out how I want to structure it, how I want to sequence it. Different poses each class. Last Yin class we didn't do Sphinx. We didn't come to our stomach. We did some other variations of back bends. If you want to, you can bend your knees and tick-tock your lower legs side to side like windshield wipers. You don't have to, because in about 20 seconds I'm going to let you push to child's pose, but that's just one way you can release a little tension, loosen up that sacral area. And your mentality, we're going to begin winding down soon. But we are going to twist again the last 8 minutes of class. Let's push up and back into child's pose. So I'm timing this. We'll give you a full minute. We've got just about 30 seconds. Yep, 15 seconds. So chondrocytes and osteoblasts, the cells responsible for creating more cartilage and bone. When you stress the bone, you can actually grow more bone from the inside out. Those cells, chondrocytes and osteoblasts. Another benefit of Yin Yoga. Let's release to your back. Lie down. Try to find the second most important pose in all of yoga, your final resting pose. But we're not going to rest just yet, Sigrid. But lay down as if you were. Make sure your head's on the mat the way you like, and your heels on the mat, as if we were resting at the end. And then hug in the knees for a few moments, releasing a little more tension in the spine. We're going to twist one more time, Honey Lee Barrett, as we end the class. So the knees, I'm hoping, will stay high, and drop both knees. Let's go left again. Drop them to the left. Try to anchor the knees all the way down. You might have to shift on your hip, so that if I walked by your mat, your legs would be comfortably relaxed all the way down. Your arms start out like wings, your head turning right. As the pose deepens and matures, you could try to get the right shoulder down. And if it works for you, you can draw one or both arms overhead. But don't have an arm hanging in midair. If the arm's overhead, make sure it's comfortable. When the arms draw up, you're opening up the meridians of the heart and the lungs. So Sphinx. We were in back bends passively for 10 minutes. What's going on with this Sphinx pose, according to Yin Yoga? Could you actually do it for 20 minutes? Well, yeah. But we are all usually at about 10. Sphinx can be a very deep compression and stimulation for the sacral lumbar arch. Between lumbar 2 and 3 vertebrae is found the door of life, where Jin energy is housed, and that releases to the kidneys. Back bends, good for kidneys. Sphinx tones the spine. People with bulging or herniated discs may find it very therapeutic. When you look up to the ceiling, the thyroid gland is stimulated. Sphinx is good for the urinary bladder, kidney lines, as well as stomach, spleen meridians, and your adrenal glands as well. Twisting. And I hope you're breathing deep so your diaphragm can massage your liver, kidneys, and spleen. Twisting at the end of practice helps restore equilibrium in the nervous system, releasing tension in the spine. If you have sciatica issues, you could draw the knees closer to the chest. Twisting massages stomach organs and cures gastritis. Twisting the spine stimulates the urinary bladder lines. The Ida and Pingali nadis are also stimulated. Those are your nostrils. When you breathe in more than air. You breathe in a universal intelligence called prana. It crisscrosses up and down all the chakras of the spine. If one arm's overhead, several meridians in that arm are stimulated: heart, lungs, small, large intestines. Twist, compress the stomach, massage internal organs. Twisting through the rib cage stimulates the gallbladder meridians, helps the liver, spleen, and pancreas, nurtures the shoulder joint, upper spine, as well as all the tissues in the upper chest, breast, and shoulder, stressing especially the lumbar and sacroiliac joints or sacroiliac joints. That's going to do it. Let's hug in the knees for 30 seconds. Hug in the knees for 30 seconds, Jonathan. Time's up. Drop the knees to the right. Try to keep them nice and high if you can. Once your knees are anchored to the right, draw your arms out like wings. Try to get the legs all the way down comfortably, head turning left. If it works for you, you can bring one or both arms overhead. Make sure you're breathing deep. So what's going on with these lower meridians running through the tips of the toes, toe joints, ankles, knees, hips, stomach, spleen, gallbladder, urinary bladder, kidney, and liver meridians? Am I just dealing with these organs of the body in Yin Yoga? In the liver's case, it's a gland. Headaches, blurred vision, pains along the side of the body, including eyes, ears, and throat, may be an indication of problems with the gallbladder meridian. Signs of disharmony in the urinary bladder meridian: headaches, backaches, inability to urinate, mental problems, disease of the lower limbs. So no, we're not dealing with just the organs of the body. We're dealing with the electrical, check that, the energetic flow. Upper meridians, fingertips, finger joints running through the arms, through the shoulders, the intestines and lungs and heart. Ear, eye, stomach problems, possible deafness, pain in the lower abdomen, pain in the shoulders or neck, small intestine meridian issues, problems in the mouth, teeth, nose, throat, such as toothache, sore throats, as well as problems with the neck and shoulders, may be disharmony with the large intestine meridian. So you have about a minute, hang in there. So we offer a guided meditation only at the end of our Yin classes. Today's guided meditation: smile and be happy. If you should happen to lose your way during the guided meditation, I will not be offended. Just simply rest in the second most important pose in all of yoga, because you're still achieving quietude of mind. Release. Class is over. Hug in the knees. You get 1 minute, like we always do, releasing tension any way that you'd like. The class is over. We're going to move our way toward the second most important pose in all of yoga, your final 5 minutes of rest, where you're melting into Mother Earth. You're snuggling up into the mat. Your eyes are shut. No more deep breathing. I'm hoping in about 35 seconds you are involved in that action so that we can begin our guided meditation. Of course, the most important pose in all of yoga, we talk about it in every class. Seek the kingdom within, discover your true nature, transform your life through meditation. So I'm hoping maybe 20 seconds or so, you can get all nice and snuggly. Remember, try to keep the eyes shut as they are the windows of the mind, and we don't want the mind stirring. And your breath is normal, back, breathing in and out through your nose. Let's take the first minute and focus on your breathing. However, let's follow the pause. There's a pause in your breath. After you inhale, there's a slight pause. And after you exhale, there's a slight pause. Just take about a minute and follow that. Witness it. Observe. Let's move away from you following the pause in your breath. So no more witnessing of the breath. Let's move to the meditation. Bring your attention to your face. Are you holding any tension in your jaw, behind your eyes, in your forehead? Is your tongue relaxed? Relax your tongue. If so, if you have any tension, allow those areas to soften and release. Allow your lips and cheeks to relax. And begin to form a smile. Bring the corners of your mouth up slightly to a slight smile. You may like to think of something amusing or simply the love you have for your family or friends. Simply focus on whatever brings up a happy memory or feeling. If you're holding any tension in any part of your body, allow your smile to soften that area now. Allow the muscles to soften and relax. Stay as long as you need at each area of your body until you relax fully. When you finish relaxing one tight area, simply move on to the next area that is tight and relax. Smile into the muscles. Allow them to relax. Now, bring your awareness to your heart and feel the smile and happiness in your heart. You may like to visualize your heart chakra opening or pulsating and expanding with love energy. You may like to visualize this heart energy as a pink and green light. The pink light representing unconditional love, and the green light is the color of healing. Hold this focus for a few moments, focusing on the love in your heart center. The following are some positive affirmations to help you feel happier throughout your day. You can just repeat these in your mind's eye. I am happy and relaxed despite my external circumstances. I find it easy to be happy and smile often. I am responsible for my own happiness. Happiness comes easily to me. When I smile, the whole world smiles with me. Now, bring your awareness back to your face. Are you feeling happier and lighter? When you leave this meditation, you'll find it easier to smile and be happier throughout your day. As you find yourself back into this temporary plane of existence, try to carefully and mindfully make your way up to a comfortable seated position. So that wasn't too bad, huh? If you'd like, you can draw the hands of the heart centers. Always thank you all for coming out here for a delightful and delicious experience, sharing your Yin Yoga with me and with each other. Today's closing from the book of Divani Shamsi Tabriz, a book by Rumi. Rumi, a 13th century Persian Muslim poet and Sufi mystic, the best-selling poet in the United States. He died in 1273 at the age of 66. He writes, "From the moment you came into the world of being, a ladder was placed before you that you might escape." And he's talking about lifting your consciousness up, up, up until you find that true self that we talk about every day. I hope your weekend is tranquil. Namaste.